Hello and welcome back to Chengi's World. I am Chengi and you are my world. If you're coming here for the first time, that's what's going down up in here. And for those of you who are coming back to this channel, thank you so much for your support. I love you for commenting, sharing, and just helping this channel totally grow. Thank you so much. For those of you who are new, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Chengi's World, Facebook Chengi's World, and Twitter Chengi's World, and we can hang out and have a chat. So today is a Man Talk Monday. Yes, my favorite. And today we're going to be talking about the illusion of control, some of the issues that we have with feeling that we can control the outcome of what happens in a relationship. So I just want to address some issues regarding what we think or believe is what we can control in a relationship. So keep watching as we explore this topic. What is it that you can really control when you are dating somebody? Okay. So basically, it's very good for you to have, it's ultimately very important for you to know the outcome of what you want. It's important for you to know whether you are just trying to have a bit of fun or whether you really just want to get some experience dating, get to know yourself better, get to know other people better, make friends, or if you're really looking for something serious, want to get married. But I can tell you this for sure, whatever your goals are, you cannot control the outcome. So let me just sort of define what I mean by control. Control means that you cannot, control is the ability to have things go exactly the way that you want them to go, in the way that you want them to go, in the time that you want them to go. Control is what you have when you're behind the steering wheel of a car. When I'm behind the steering wheel of my car, I have control over the gears, I've got control over the speed, I have control over the direction. I am in absolute control of the vehicle that I am in. But I cannot control anything outside of my vehicle. I cannot control the other cars. I cannot control the other drivers. When I get in my car, all I have control of is my vehicle. I have complete control about where I turn it, when it stops, how it stops, the speed at which it goes, right? So it's the same thing with dating. The moment I drive out, the only thing that I can do is control, and I can also drive defensively. I can also drive sensibly. I need to be aware and walk in, and proceed in my awareness. And the way that I drive can influence the way the road moves. So what does that mean? I have control of my vehicle, but I'm able to influence the momentum of the road. So if I am on the road and I'm driving at a speed slightly less than everybody else is going at, I begin to influence the way the speed begins to work, because every other car behind me now has to go at a certain pace. Now, I can't control whether the driver behind me wants to cut through a corner, go through a bended corner and, go in front of me. I can't control their decision, but I can certainly influence the pace and the momentum that the road is going at. So you can certainly influence and affect what is going on around you by how you control your car. You can create an environment and an atmosphere on the road that can make it safer or not so safe by how you control your vehicle, the one thing that you have control over. Now, the reason I bring this up is because the biggest issue I have with my clients is that they want to control the other person. Not even my clients, women all over the world. We have an illusion of control. We truly believe in ourselves that we are able to control another human being. That if we kick, if we scream, if we shout, if we insult, if we post sexy pics, if we do this, that, and the other, we are going to end up affecting how the other person is, how the other person feels. So we come out of the space and the place that we can control. We come out of the place and space where we have control and where we can affect and influence, and we enter into the realm of trying to control the other person. So when you find yourself throwing tantrums, sending angry texts, sending "I love you, can't live without you" for the rest of my desperate texts, or making silly phone calls, and anything that you do that is about that other person, that is about making that other person feel so uncomfortable in the decision that they're making concerning you, feel so uncomfortable about who they are and the way that they're treating you, is an illusion of control, because all you do is lose that person. What you can do is control yourself, is control your reaction, is control the pace that you are moving at, and then allow what you are doing with yourself. You see, the thing is, we don't want to control ourselves. We want to be crazy mad and say what comes out of our mouths. We want to be annoyed and feel justified to be annoyed and just say the first thing that comes out of our mouths. But in reality, we're doing ourselves a disservice. In reality, what we are doing is hemorrhaging or actually making things worse on the other side, because we cannot control any other driver. We cannot control the experience of the other drivers. We cannot control their expertise. And this is it, when we're on the road, when we're dating, it's like a road, and we cannot control what's happening around us. We can only control ourselves and be conscious and walk in awareness and drive in awareness. Make sure you know what's going on around you so you can be responsive to everything. The moment you find your peace going and you start feeling all kind of angry and you start feeling like you're out of control, it's not because you're out of control of the person. Sometimes it feels like your relationship is just out of control. There's nothing you can do. You've read every book. You're trying to control this person, and this person just refuses to be controlled. Why is this the case? Because you are personally out of control. You are personally out of control. So what you need to do is focus on your reactions. What do I need to do? Who do I need to be right now? So he is blowing hot and cold. What do I need to be? I need to be consistent. I need to be stable. And I need to move myself out of that unhealthy atmosphere and position myself in a place where I am strong, I am certain, I am clear. You know, I always say to my clients, what do you want? Oh, he's doing this, he's doing the other. He can't offer me this, he can't offer me that. He's saying he doesn't want this. What do you want? The reason I say to my clients, what do you want? The reason I say to women all over the world, what do you want? Is because what is happening is you are losing sight of what you want. You're losing sight of what matters to you. Do you want marriage? Yes. Or do you want a great romance? What do you want? Because if you just want to have a bit of fun and have somebody in your life, then he's acceptable. You can do hot and cold, mess around with him, have a great love affairs, because great emotions and passionate emotions come out of extremes, right? The people who have the most epic romances are romances that often operate at extremes, and they're fun. Today is in, tomorrow is out, and you know, when you meet it's amazing, and when you don't see him you're low. Those are very passionate, exciting relationships. But a marriage requires a level of consistency. A marriage requires choosing somebody who is consistent in the communication, who communicates, who is consistent, who is who has those 3 C's, who's committed to you. And those are non-sexy, they're not as sexy. So when I find women messing around with a guy who's not serious, who doesn't want to settle down, who doesn't want to become a husband, and she claims she wants a husband, what she's done is lost control of her goals. She's lost control of what she wants, and now she wants him to change from being a playboy to being husband material, when actually she can't control that. You cannot control what he wants out of his life. You cannot control. A man who wants to play. You cannot control that. And feeling that there's something that you can do, something you can say to persuade this man who has made it abundantly clear to you that what you want is not his own agenda, is an illusion of control. Let me tell you something. Even witches, wizards, whatever, with a cauldron, whatever, any kind of whatever going on, cannot control anyone. What they can do is influence and affect atmospheres, mess around with circumstances so that you react to them and mess your life up. Okay, all that can happen is that God has created it in such a way that we are in control of ourselves. They said He's not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a soundness of mind, which means we're able to control our response. I don't care how angry you get, you have the power to not open your mouth and say something you don't want to say. That is completely within your control, which is why you have to say sorry when you say it, because you realize that you had the choice not to do it. right? You have the power to control yourself. So instead of wasting time trying to find little tips and tricks and whatever else to control another human being, why don't you spend the time controlling yourself? How about you spend time controlling your lust, controlling that desire, that drive, that sexual drive that is pretending and masquerading as love? How about you spend some time controlling your need, your ticking clock? How about you control your ticking clock, right? It's easier not to control your ticking clock and your sense of urgency. I must get married, I must just have this. How about you control your timelines? You want things to happen tomorrow. You want to meet somebody and marry them tomorrow, or whatever the situation is. How about you control your timelines? Okay, how about you control your desperation and your neediness and walk away from somebody who's made it plain that over the years they're not looking to settle down with you. You've been dating this guy for 5 years and he's not popped the question. And you know he's not popping the question. So now you're making his life a misery. Now you're yelling and screaming and throwing all kinds of tantrums, when actually it's easier for you to make him the villain instead of looking at yourself and saying, you know what, control yourself. You have the right at this point to decide to walk away with your dignity or to hang around and lose it along the way. There is an ability to control, but it's not anybody else. Don't ever let anybody, I don't care who claims on the face of the earth to be that coach that can really just get you the man that you look. If they claim to do that, what they're saying is they can help you create an atmosphere, an environment. They can help you pace yourself and your responses and your reactions, right, to accommodate, to create an atmosphere that allows the other person to best respond. So let's talk about atmospheres. There's certain crops and certain plants that will not grow under certain atmospheres because atmosphere matters, right? If you want certain crop to grow and a certain thing to flourish, what you have to do is create the right atmosphere. So if you've got the right seed in the ground and you have the right atmosphere, then you can bring out the fruit from that seed. But if you have the right seed in the ground and you create the wrong atmosphere, then you stifle the growth. Sometimes we have great guys who are ready for everything, but we as women are not trained. Maybe we're not mature enough. Maybe we're insecure. Maybe we're hurting. Maybe we're broken. Maybe we've got issues, daddy issues, mommy issues, whatever issues, and we're bringing that atmosphere into a healthy situation, and therefore it's stifling that growth. So as a coach, who comes from the approach of mine, which is just simply, aligning yourself and positioning yourself, you can create an atmosphere where a good relationship can flourish, where a good man can choose you, where a good man can prefer you. He came with the right intentions, he came with the right mind. You can create atmospheres that allow what is good to flourish, but you cannot go into somebody's mind. The only other way that a coach can do that is manipulation and exploitation. If you meet somebody who is desperate and needy, and you can tell that actually they're desperate and needy right now, you can exploit that situation to get the result that you want. But what that is exploitation. Or if you find somebody who might be weak-minded and or needing to rely on you or not sure about their lives, you can manipulate. Or somebody who trusts you deeply, you can manipulate that situation to work on your behalf. But we know that manipulation and exploitation are not only wrong, hard positions and dispositions to have. Other than the moral angle of it, you have to deal with the fact that you cannot create permanency. Because if I manipulate you today to get you to love me, I'm going to have to manipulate you every single day of our relationship. And God forbid you marry me, I'm going to have to do it until death do us part. I'm going to have to be manipulating you every time you step out of that door. I'm going to have to be exploiting you every time you step out that door. Because guess what? You're going to be meeting different women. You're going to be meeting different circumstances. And because you didn't come to me, because I created an atmosphere where you grew to love me, understand me, and commit to me in the way that I deserve, I didn't bother creating that atmosphere. I just saw you needy, you had nowhere to live, you were a bit broken, and I took you in and I created a situation. Now I'm going to have to do that all the time. Now I'm going to have to exploit, I'm going to have to keep you weak, I'm going to have to keep you broken, I'm going to have to keep you unsure and uncertain, so I always have that little gap where I can exploit you, manipulate you. That is a lot of work to do, ladies. It is a lot of work to do, and eventually that person is going to leave us because there's gonna come a day where you want your belly to hang out. There's gonna come a day when you just want to be yourself. There's gonna come a day when you just want to get fat or just have an accident and go to hospital, whatever life brings your way, and know that that person is going to be there without you needing to manipulate them or exploit them. So this is the problem of engaging in programs and buying programs from relationship coaches who claim to be able to do this for you. Because once you've manipulated your way, exploited your way into somebody's life, and I know one or two coaches that do that, who teach women to manipulate their way into men's lives so they can have money, and all sort of things, right? You're going to have to do this for the rest of your life. If you're exploiting and manipulating a situation with an older guy and you're the younger woman and you're only there for money, you are going to get old one day, and there's always going to be a fresher, newer model passing by. You see, the problem with exploitation and manipulation in an attempt to control another human being is that it is a short-lived experience, okay? So what I'm saying to you in this video is spend the time managing yourself. Spend the time exploring your thinking. Spend the time saying, okay, this is what is happening right now. I have zero control over what is happening in that person's heart. I have zero control about what's happening in that person's mind. I have zero control about whether they're going to be ready to marry me or not, whether they're ready to be a partner or not, whether they're ready to be a boyfriend or not, whether they're ready to be consistent with me or not. I haven't got control over them, but I have control over me. And right now, I'm not going to kick and scream. I'm not going to disrespect myself. I'm not going to disrespect him. I am going to pull back and stay in my position and watch and see what happens. I am going to create an atmosphere around me that makes me so addictive to be around, so fun to be around, so amazing to be around, that this man, when he's not with me, craves my company. Right? I can create that I have power over. I have the power to smile. I have the power to make light of maybe something that would have been offensive and blown out of proportion. I have the power to smile it away. I have the power to be gracious when I could actually tell you about yourself. I have the power to control my responses, my reactions, so that I create an atmosphere that makes me somebody that you really just want to spend time around. That makes me a woman that a man just wants to be around because I make him feel so good. That makes him want to come back because I have created an atmosphere of thriving and flourishing. I have that power. And ladies, when you understand your power to control yourself, when you take back your power and begin to control yourself, very few men will be able to live without you. They will feel it when they're no longer in your company. When they decide to change their mind or they go for another girl, whatever, they will feel it because they would have left something so warm and so kind and so funny. Company that makes them laugh, company that makes them feel special, company that makes them feel like a queen. You can control that. You can control that. Or you can be an angry woman making demands, putting your foot down, putting angry memes up, and doing all of these things. You can do that, but it will never control the other person. And in fact, it will probably have that person running away. So whenever I speak to my clients, I'm like, look, what do you want? What is your priority? What are your values? What are the things that matter to you? What will you tolerate and not tolerate? What are you able to manage? What are you able to live with and not live with? It's always about you. Don't fall into the illusion of thinking you can control another human being. You cannot control them. You can control yourself. So that's my message to you today. Be done with the illusion of control. Spend time controlling yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much. Make sure you see me on Instagram and Facebook, and we can hang out and talk a little bit on those platforms. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of you.